Today we have our science teacher, respected Saswati ma'am with us. Let us know about the biodiversity that was existing and still exists in our area from her. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, how long have you been living in this area?
It's about 30 to 32 years that I have been here.
So, ma'am, you were born in this
Yeah.
area. Ma'am, what is the main staple food consumed here? Have you noticed any changes in the staple food that is being consumed here now?
The main staple food that has been continuing here is rice, but to some extent, somehow, as time is changing, wheat is also becoming an important part of the diet nowadays.
So, ma'am, has there been any changes in the kind of food you consume in comparison to what your parents and grandparents did?
Yes, mostly they consumed more of energy giving food like carbohydrates. Rice was the main food, but as of the amount of physical labor that we are doing has reduced, and the day to day activities have also changed. It has changed to wheat or to millets also. Now we have shifted to consuming more of millets.
This species of animals and plants, ma'am, which you are able to see in that time, has there been any changes now?
Yeah, of course, because uh, taking a small example, sparrow. When I was a kid, we used to see a lot of sparrow, crow, which have now reduced by a great number. And there are a lot of different varieties, wild varieties of plants, particularly various medicinal plants which I used to have in my garden, are very rarely found nowadays.
Ma'am, do you consume any wild edible plants and which time of the year are those plants available?
If you see, we generally used to have few plants. I would tell the local names like Paduo, which was very effective for digestive problems, or if any person is suffering from diarrhea. And also, I used to remember when I was a kid, my grandfather used to give me some wild varieties of neem and masoor dal grinded together, and that used to help us fight against increase our immunity against any sort of insect bite. So these are few things which used to be very prevalent in our home. Nowadays also we have wild tamarind, then wild turmeric. These are all consumed till date also, which have a lot of medicinal value.
Ma'am, are there any tree or plant species that people are currently dependent on to make a living?
Yes, as this is a tribe dominated area, so we find different such varieties. The locally we call it as salak, that plant. The leaf of that plant is used to make the plates which are till now used in different occasions. Then we have different varieties of berries. One such is your kusuma kodi. Then there are different medicinal plants like horida, pipadi, and pumpkin, which are means not only the plants but their various products are sold out in the market by people to earn their living.
So, ma'am, apart from people, have you seen any animals being dependent on this tree or plant?
See, this area is a hilly region. Mostly it was earlier surrounded by forest from all sides. So there are a large number of elephant and bear which used to live in these areas where the sal plant or these different berries are found. So they are mostly dependent for their fruits. The squirrels or the birds, they are also dependent upon these plants for their food.
So, ma'am, have you noticed any changes in the fruiting or flowering system of this tree or plant species over the last 20 to 40 years?
So you see, increase in deforestation and forest fire have led to the decline in the number of these trees. So overall the productivity, the fruiting time is though remaining the same, but the amount of productivity has decreased by a great extent.
Ma'am, is there a plant or animal that you used to consume or use in any other way that you think you don't find anymore in our environment?
So if you see, belonging to a tribal region, people used to consume this wild pig which was locally known as sambar and bara. It was one of the commonly eaten non-vegetarian food which we don't find anymore, because these species have become endangered and now the species has been protected by the government. Similarly, people earlier used to have the plant which is at bella as a refreshing summer drink which we don't find. Then palm, taro, which was very commonly consumed, which is there decreasing by a great extent and it has become very rare. Guava, jackfruit, these fruiting plants were also available in almost everybody's garden, but now we only get these things in the market.
So, ma'am, why do you think it has disappeared now?
Firstly, climate. The climate will obviously be the most important, and secondly, urbanization has led to cleaning up of the areas. Now people try to build up houses, more houses, or use the areas for other construction activities, which has eventually led to the cutting down and deforestation of these plants. And I guess one important thing is these plants were mostly dispersed by squirrels and birds. So when their number is decreasing, it's obvious that the natural process of seed dispersal or germination will decrease. So that is the main reason.
So, ma'am, has the monsoon in our area changed from the last 20 to 40 years?
Yes, there has been a drastic change. May it be in the duration for how long the monsoon is now it is lasting, or be it in the arrival. Earlier we used to have monsoon by the 1st of June, but nowadays it's probably delayed by around 15 to 20 days. So that is one major thing. And secondly, earlier means even if during the summer season the intense heating up of the atmosphere during the day resulted in heavy showers in the evening, but nowadays we don't find that. So monsoon have decreased.
So, ma'am, is our region nowadays is more affected by droughts or floods than 20 to 40 years ago?
Specifically, if we see this place Keonjhar, this is not prone to flooding because there are no such mighty rivers which are present here, and this is a hilly area. So neither it was a flood prone region nor a drought prone region, but due to this intense summer, delaying of monsoon, nowadays we find the problem of rather drought, but flooding is generally not seen in local areas.
So, ma'am, have you noticed any other changes in the weather conditions now, and how has it affected the people's lives?
See, so nowadays mostly there is no such any particular season which is directly affecting the agricultural pattern or the cropping season of this place. This is a tribal area where people are mostly engaged in agricultural activity as a source of their livelihood, but we don't find the agriculture as productive as it was earlier. So that is the main thing. And secondly means due to sudden onset of monsoon, due to means irregular rainfall pattern, many a times the crops get destroyed, which is affecting the economy of this place also.
So, ma'am, have these changes affected the nature in our area?
Yes, obviously, because there were certain varieties of plants or some we can say local species of plants which are nowadays very rarely found. They have become endangered. Even many animal and bird species which used to be very common in these areas are now not found. And secondly, this place was not very prone to different type of communicable diseases or epidemics, but due to this irregular change in the weather and monsoon pattern, people also nowadays suffer from a number of diseases, and the ecosystem is undoubtedly getting disturbed due to all this change that is taking place.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing with us all the information and giving us a precious time.
You are most welcome. It's my pleasure.